Mythology and magic. The use of mythology and magic begins at the beginning of our ability to perform the complex task of communicating a formed idea into a form of a story to convey the more complex idea or observation, to explain life and the universe around us. Mythology is a collection of myths, especially one belonging to a particular religious or cultural tradition of people, their collection of stories to explain nature, history, and customs, or the study of such myths. Wikipedia definition. Ancient people, through the close ties with their natural world, made clear observations about the energy that ran through themselves and energy of every living thing, even the use of stones that came from the earth, which they could understand to be alive, had these energies as well. Ancient people around the world came up with the universal truths that still hold true in our magical practices today. The use of the elements, the directions, sacred geometry, herbs for healing and magic, stones, divination tools were all used by early societies as well as individuals all across the world, very early in our history. Concepts had a core truth that were found all over the world long before travel and the word of mouth could have spread these ideas. There, of course, were different words and plants for such things that differed according to geographic conditions. However, you can still see great similarities throughout the world. Mythology played heavily in the early paganism, Shamitic tribes, Greek-Roman societies, and Jewish, Arab, Christian religions. The spiritual leaders created and used these stories to convey greater truths held within each. Their purpose for using these myths, especially the god myths, is of a practical importance for anyone wishing to activate the metaphor of the soul. The gods are everywhere and at all times, and as such can offer our lives meaning through varied and unique psychologies. The gods are bridges within the soul between nature and nurture, body and spirit, the profane and the divine, the microcosm and the macrocosm, as above, as below. These god images are archetypes just as the trumps in the tarot cards, the stations of the tree of life, and so on. These archetypes come with stories and characters and situations that can utilize for personal growth and development, but also as bridges to the universal energy tides that we use in our magic. If we consider the gods as expressing themselves, each in a specific mode of being, each with symbolic attributes, landscapes, animals and plants, activities and moralities, and psychopathologies, then part of the specific mode of being of each god is a style of reflection. A god is a manner of existence, an attitude towards existence, and a set of ideas. Each god would project its divine logos, world, or word, opening the soul's eye, so that it regards the world in a particularly formed way. A god forms our subjective vision so that we see the world according to its ideas. James Hillman, Revising Psychology. The gods call, the gods arrive, the gods demand, the gods inspire, the gods lead, the gods come and go in images charged with feelings, with ideas, and with perceptions. Theurgy, or magic performed with the aid of beneficent spirits, was rediscovered by Renaissance scholars. This was the practice of pre-Christian pagan magicians or theurgists. Their concept was that the gods and goddesses were both personalities in their own right and personifications of cosmic principles. Theurgists believed that man-made objects could be imbued with a life and an intelligence of their own through the use of symbols or tokens, based upon the Hermetic law of correspondence, as above, as below. The tokens were stones, plants, perfumes, and other associated symbols of the deity invoked, placed within the image of the deity. A properly performed rite would communicate with the presence of the deity, especially in the form of a mystical illumination. Theurgy was popular with the late pagan philosophers who saw it as a barrier against the rising flood of Christianity, something above philosophy in that it gave direct access to the gods. Hermeticism was originally comprised of works written in Alexandria between the 1st and 3rd century AD. They were called the Hermetica because the author was believed to be Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great as Hermes. Hermeticism is the important contributor of several key ideas found in modern esotericism and occultism. Number one, the importance of an eclectic mentality that seeks unity between human and the universe. Any and all ideas can help us to learn about unity. Two, the appreciation of the symbolic value of the universe, which consequently allows us to move away from the negativity of Western dualism, which is that matter that the world and those things of the world, for instance our bodies, are evil, and only deity being wholly good. Number three, reinforces the myth that the fall of man or woman's process of reintegration. Hermeticism is in essence the journey of the initiated soul that finds its way back to the source deity. Gnosticism comes from the Greek meaning knowledge. It ran parallel with early Christianity, and in many cases sects were direct offshoots of traditional Christianity. Of course, they were deemed heretics. These three philosophies together contributed to the development of the four core beliefs in Western magic today. Number one, the material universe reflects the divine intent. Number two, divinity is defined as including a pantheon of god and goddesses. Number three, direct access to the gods is possible by way of correct procedure and ceremony that includes the act of magical use of god images. Number four, secret initiation is the means of transmission of the ways one can personally obtain divine knowledge, or gnosis, which includes the mysteries of Eleusis and the rites of alchemy. Practical Kabbalicism employed these four principal concepts in a broad sense if we remove the paganist polytheistic element. Western and Jewish magic could only eventually meet. We can even conjecture that the whole of magic inception to have been beneath the nighttime skies of Babylonia, a romantic speculation that both magic traditions had a common origin within the womb of the sands of the desert. Most of my information was gathered from Luis Alvarado's Psychology, Astrology, and Western Magic book. Astrology is another science that corresponds and incorporates heavily the use of mythology into the practice of itself. And astrology and the planetary hours again are used today in our everyday magic. From the movements of the moon and the following of the birth and the death of the sun and the archetypal energies of each planetary influence and correspondence frequently help strengthen our magic and hastens the outcome. We cannot escape the influence of mythology in our lives today, for even with no belief in it at all, they will surface in our dream expression. The more you study the categories of side topics, the more you realize that the reason the myths have survived is the relevance they contain in our very existence, not just our magic. My magic would be impotent without the use of these philosophies. Even Christian and Jewish and Arab religions are heavily laden with the use of myth, for that is truly what their holy texts are. The use of the monotheistic approach to their divine still incorporates the many archetypes within the expression of stories to explain life and the world. The more knowledge you gain in these areas of mythology, astrology, psychology, and so many more, the more you can bridge the gap of understanding in all religious paths and become so much more tolerant. The more a personal benefit is that you yourself will grow and develop along with the strength of your magical practice. You begin to understand that the use of other cultural pantheons will help unlock stuck spots in your practice by becoming at issues from different perspectives to the same lessons. Learn from everywhere. Learn to see with a new perception. Love and light. Blessings to all. And peace out. If you have any questions, just feel free to include them on our Friday wrap-up. We will be having Friday evening. And Everybody have a very blessed day.